Hi, my name's Jen. I work for Amnesty International. I'm here today to give a reminder to all who need it that social security is not a political act of charity or a benefit that politicians can choose to give or take away. It's a human right that the government in the UK agreed nearly 50 years ago to uphold. It's actually the cornerstone for other human rights, to housing, to food, to health. Remember those? That cornerstone has been chipped away for decades, chipped away by politicians who appear to have forgotten that the purpose of social security is to make sure no one's forced to live in conditions that damages their health. No one's hungry, homeless, or institutionalised. It must never be used as a tool to punish or coerce people into work. Amnesty International forensically looked at the UK social security system. We listened to hundreds of claimants. Unlike the government, we've consulted with people to see if the social security system is fit for purpose. How does it measure up to international human rights standard? And the conclusion is it fails across the board. It's inaccessible. It doesn't pay enough to cover the costs of the essentials. It's consciously cruel. It forces people to live in fear. It's punitive, dehumanising, and it undermines human dignity. It is violating people's human rights. It isn't a social security system. It's a social insecurity system. That's the starting point before the cuts that are being debated in Parliament today. And there's important words Amnesty uses about the Universal Credit and PIP bill. It is deliberately regressive and discriminatory. This conclusion means that we've got evidence that the government knows it's going to violate people's human rights, and it's doing so in a targeted way. Anyway, we live in one of the world's richest economies. How is it possible that Amnesty International is forced to use words to describe how people who need help and support in the UK are treated? How is it possible that this country fails to protect nearly a quarter of our population already from living in poverty? Amnesty agrees with Keir Starmer and Liz Kendall that the social security system in the UK is broken, but it's been purposefully broken through a series of political choices. Instead of choosing to fix it, to make it fit for purpose, this government has proposed to make it worse. How can they justify making poverty worse? Even if the numbers affected have reduced, how can they justify making poverty worse? And for those of you who say there isn't any money, we have to balance the books, let me say this. When people claiming universal credit or PIP need to balance their budget, they make impossible choices about what to cut, where to save. They prioritise the things that are essential for their life. And when the government need to make savings on behalf of the country, they must, under international law, but also because it's the right thing to do, prioritise the essential needs of the people who are at risk of hunger, homelessness, or harm to their health before all other things these nice to have. By cutting, freezing benefits, freezing some people completely out of the benefits system, they're telling people they will no longer be able to afford the support they need to live independent lives, and they're doing the opposite of what the international standards say. They're choosing to balance the books at the expense of people already living bill to bill, already struggling. The government must look to their budget lines that won't harm people with the lowest incomes and look to the bulging pockets of the people who have the broadest shoulders. We're calling on the government to stop targeting people who are disabled. Don't turn off their electricity. Don't take food from their table. Don't shut the door in the face of carers. Don't choose to violate human rights. It is time for change, for sure, but it must be a lock, stock and barrel change to build a social security system that supports people, not stigmatises them, that brings them out of poverty, not impoverishes them. It must be a change that brings an end to social security, so it's not too late for MPs to make the right choice and stop the cuts. It is not too late for us to hold the government to account. Write to your MP. It's still important to do that now. Call for change. Be a human rights defender.